Good morning, beautiful souls. So, this week I had questions about how to get motivated, how to stay motivated, and clients telling me that, they just haven't been stricken with motivation. So, it's just hard to do anything. So, I thought I would share my answer here and kind of what I helped process with all of my clients this past week. So there are two main types of motivation. One is intrinsic motivation, and that is the drive to do something for its own sake, for a sense of mastery, to feel good about yourself, to know that you accomplished something that was on your to-do list. And extrinsic motivation is the drive to do something for an external reward or some sort of consequence, like to gain recognition, to gain approval, to win an award, to be recognized, to be celebrated. Intrinsic motivation comes from within, and it's based on your own satisfaction and enjoyment, while extrinsic motivation comes from outside validation. It's based on external factors: money, good grades, praise, or even punishment, fear of punishment. So, how do we get motivated, whether it's intrinsic or extrinsic, and which one's better? Well, obviously, the intrinsic motivation is better if your self-esteem and your self-worth is suffering. So if you're going day in and day out, just kind of sitting there feeling overwhelmed, not getting anything done that you would like to get done, waiting for motivation to strike, of course that makes you feel terrible about yourself. And at the end of the day, you might have some of those self-deprecating thoughts and ruminations, such as, I'm lazy, I'm a loser, I'm a failure, those type of thoughts, right? With extrinsic motivation, that can be a good thing too, because it drives you to get that report written at work that has to be done in order to gain praise and recognition from your boss, and in order to keep obtaining that paycheck that's helping you pay your bills and live your life. Also, certain family members, maybe, the motivation to go and help your mother or father with something, knowing that they're getting older and they can't do it themselves. It's going to make you look good. It's going to help you to show your love. They're going to feel more loved. So you're doing it for an outside source. But how do you get motivated? Does motivation float around in little clouds and randomly strike certain people? Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes you can be sitting there day in and day out just doing nothing, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, some sort of internal switch is turned on, and you jump up and you clean the house and you do all the things. And then you feel really good about yourself, and you tell yourself, man, I wish I could be this way every day. Which would be nice, right? Because sometimes it does seem to just flip on out of the blue. But it stays more consistent if we create our motivation. And how do we create it? Okay, we have to hit those reward centers in our brain. So if you're sitting there and your kitchen is a disaster and you're overwhelmed and you want to clean it, but instead you're sitting there like a deer in the headlights thinking, good God, where do I even begin? It is a mess. And this is common in people with depression. The house will get cluttered, the dishes will be nasty, piled up in the sink, and they know it needs to be cleaned, and they don't like the mess, but for some reason they just cannot find the motivation to get up and do it. So to find that motivation, grab a pen and a piece of paper and write down why it would be amazing if the kitchen were clean. Write down the things you don't like about it being dirty and how much better it would probably make you feel if it were clean. And then the next step is to get up and force yourself to get started. So you start on one end of the counter and work your way across. You could start by taking out the trash. And then you could start by gathering all the dirty dishes in the house and piling them on top of the pile of dirty dishes. And then you dive in and start cleaning the dishes. You're loading the dishwasher. You're hand washing what's left behind that wouldn't fit in the dishwasher. And then you dry and put away. And then you clean the counters. And then you clean the floors. And then when you're all done, stand back and look at how nice it is. And take a mental note of how good you feel about yourself because you accomplished something you just didn't think you'd be able to do today. That right there creates motivation. That hits the reward centers in your brain. You have gotten up and done something you didn't think you could do. Maybe it's going to the gym and keeping up on your fitness. We all sit around and think, wow, I really should go to the gym more. I'm paying for that membership and I just never go. Get up, make the time. You might say, I just don't have the time. I have to work, or I have to deal with the kids after work and help them with their homework, and I just don't have time. That is just another excuse. And where you have all these excuses, you will have zero motivation. And a wish without action is just a wish, but a wish with action becomes motivation. So you have to schedule that time, make that time, make it happen. It's only an hour, go to the gym for a half an hour or an hour. Maybe you don't go to the gym, maybe you want to take more walks. Force yourself to get up and take a walk. You only have to walk for a half an hour to get the health benefits. So whatever it is that you're lacking motivation in, the key is to get up and force yourself to do it, even if you don't want to. That's a big piece of self-care, is self-discipline. And self-discipline is what we need to create motivation. And once you spark that motivation from completing one task that you really wish you could complete, but you just didn't have the motivation, when you force yourself to do it, you now feel rewarded intrinsically. You feel good about yourself. You feel like, hey, good job, you finally did it. And that motivates us to do more. So if you've gotten up and cleaned the kitchen, you might say, wow, I feel so good about how clean the kitchen is, and I did it. I did it. I didn't ask for help. I didn't hire a maid. I got up and did it. And I just didn't think I was going to be able to do it, but I pushed myself and I did. So you know what? Now I think I'll go tackle that pile of laundry. Going to the gym. Hey, I went to the gym and I realized how good I feel after a workout. I don't know why I don't do this more. Tomorrow I'm going to get up and do this again. So it becomes a chain reaction. You get up and you do something that you've been wanting to do instead of sitting around waiting for motivation to strike you. And when you're doing it intrinsically, the intrinsic rewards of motivation, it increases your self-esteem, it increases your self-worth, it increases your self-love and your self-discipline. And you will receive extrinsic rewards for that too, because people will notice that you're different, that you seem happier, you have more color in your face, you look healthy. Wow, look at you, you're glowing. So that's my little spiel on motivation. If you want to have more motivation, the one step you need to take is to get up and force yourself to do whatever it is that you feel like you're lacking the motivation to do. And then journal about it. Journal how great it felt to get it done. Journal how you struggled through it and it was tough, but you did it, you accomplished it, and revisit that page to create more motivation for yourself. I hope that helps. Let me know in the comments, what is it that you are lacking the motivation to do that you know you need to do? And what is one thing you can do differently this week to create that motivation? Thanks for tuning in.